What's going on?
Morning.
What's up, guys?
Kevin, nice to see you.
We're
Good to
-1
see you too,
today.
man.
We're -1 without Reed today. Reed's in Park City, Utah, on a bachelor party. So,
Oh, that's hilarious. I was literally just. Do you guys know Shifra Neary from Trusted?
What is it?
Shifra. She's Irish. She was at Trusted for a bit. She's actually in Park City right now. She left Vegas and went to Park City. I was literally texting her this morning, so that's so random.
yeah, well, maybe she'll run into Reed,
Maybe
without even knowing that's Reed. But welcome back, Kevin, to Freight Caviar Show. So your third appearance. I think it's your first live.
First live appearance.
First live. Okay, so we can't mess this one up. You gotta.
I mean, that's what live is for, right?
That's what live is for. We'll do it live.
Yeah. There's a few cool things that we'll be discussing today. Kevin recently joined Chain, and he's going to be discussing with us what Chain does, who they are. They recently removed the E at the end of their name, so now it's like Chain, the way you'd spell it in supply chain. And actually, funny enough, I have a Chain logo, their old logo, on the back of my laptop, so I look at it every day.
You got the Patagonia looking one?
Kind of, yeah, kind of like Patagonia. I saw Tom was wearing their hat that he got at TIA at I think somewhere in Vegas. I'm not sure if I manifest, but somewhere in Vegas. He actually has a photo with a UFC fighter that has like over 700 likes on Instagram. He posted it 2 days ago. I could send it to you.
With the chain hat?
With
no way.
Hat. With the chain.
Actually, I don't know if I followed Tom.
Just so that everyone could see it. Because Tom,
That's awesome.
Who's been hosting the Freight podcast as of a few weeks, he also does MMA Talk on YouTube, which is this MMA channel. Actually has like a lot of subscribers, a lot of views.
Does he really?
Well, funny enough, like it's not his channel. He's just the voice of the channel. The actual channel is owned by a couple Polish guys in Poland, and they just like basically
That's amazing.
So here I'm going to share the screen.
I'm a huge UFC guy, so.
Okay, so this is a UFC fighter right here, and this is Tom with the chain hat. Yeah, and it has over 700 likes on Instagram. And if you look at the guy, I'm going to pull up his profile here. His name is Amachov65. He's got 92,000 followers on Instagram. If you scroll down, he's got a photo with Hasbulla from February 9th.
Of course.
Yeah. So look at him hanging out, chilling in LA.
I feel like if you're in MMA and specifically UFC now, and you don't have a picture with Hasbulla,
are you even an MMA fighter?
No, you're not even an MMA fighter.
Which is like the best UFC fighter, I think.
I'm
not that good with this, but yeah, 32,000 likes on Instagram. But so he actually, Tom, after Manifest ended, like went to the UFC gym. From his connections, I think in MMA Talk, like he probably just like maybe some reach out. And he ended up doing some camping with this guy in Vegas.
No way.
Yeah, this is
awesome.
Really.
Yeah. So look at Tom here camping with the UFC.
I want to live Tom's life. Tom just gets after
life. Making the
fire. Tom's a wild boy. He rented a Tesla, which I would never do, to drive from Chicago to Las Vegas. And I think like I don't know. He told me like the number of times that he stopped was like 7 or maybe even 8.
Yeah, what does it have to do with that?
I wouldn't even do that for that kind of a trip. But
yeah, that's a long trip.
Yeah, it was funny. It was a funny conversation when Tom brought that up to me. I'm like, Tom, like you could have gotten like a RAV4 for half the price and like just blew it up.
Gone straight through.
And he was like, Paul, I'm ordering a Tesla, like driving it right now. I'm like, oh, okay, well, disregard that.
Yeah.
Good luck. But
I mean, if you've driven a Tesla, the Teslas are pretty awesome.
Yeah, they are. Awesome.
I have a Model 3, and they're I wouldn't drive anything else like shorter distance, like around Chicago, but definitely not. Remember, Paul, we did it to St. Louis once.
Christian, we talked about that when we were
immediately regretted
talking about it. Yeah, because you had your Tesla jacket on when we watched the Super Bowl. Yeah. Forgot about that.
Well, it didn't come with the car. I had that beforehand, but yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Kevin, tell us a little bit about Chain. What does Chain do? Who are they? And also, give us first. We'll begin with that. So go ahead.
Yeah, I'll give you the background on Chain because it's really crazy, right? The story. So Annalise and Param, Christian, you met them out at the conference, right? So their background is pretty wild. So So Param was actually a chemical engineer. Yeah, master's in chemical engineering. Annalise was in medical school, actually, to be a doctor. And yeah, and then we at the conference, right? I talked to Andrew and I was like, dude, we gotta get Annalise and Param like on the Freight Pod when he was doing the interviews out there, because I was like, you got to tell the story. And so they're actually together. So they're a husband and wife couple now. So Param got bored, right, with the corporate life as a chemical engineer. Apparently got bored making a lot of money, just in the corner office. But his family he's actually Punjabi, so his family is all West Coast, and a lot of them were in trucking already, right? And so he wanted to change of pace. He actually opened a trucking company and bought 15 trucks, as you do, right?
As you do.
Open a trucking company.
As a chemical engineer.
What was that?
As a chemical engineer, that's what you do. You quit your job.
Exactly, right? It was funny because I told Param, right? Like, I was like, this is how we all end up in freight.
That's funny. Because technically I started a trucking company too, and that's how I ended up in freight. Well.
Yeah.
Well, you started a trucking
company like get here by accident.
For a different reason, Christian.
Yeah, obviously, yeah, but still, like, it just happened so that I, on paper, opened a trucking company and
right
as well. So
yeah, so Param starts a trucking company. Annalise is in medical school. They're together, right? So in like the summer, like when she's out of classes and stuff, she is like she's doing dispatch for him, this trucking company, to help out. And they start talking.
Married at that time?
And essentially,
were they married at that time?
No, they were together, but they weren't married yet. They weren't married yet. So they start talking about, from the carrier's perspective, right? They approach us from the carrier's perspective, and they're like, this is, like all of this communication that we have to do, right? Emails, texts, the geofences, like you're showing, right? The tracking updates, all that sort of stuff. It's just a pain in the ass. Like, it just sucks. And, and eventually, like, communication breaks down, and then they got to call, get on the phone, and they don't want to do that anyways. It's just like, I just want to get the pickup number. I just want to get the appointment time. And so, so they started working actually originally on an Appless tracking product. So they built a company called LoadTap back in like 2015, 2016. And if you guys remember, then the FCC changed all the regulations. I don't remember exactly when it was, but like 17 or 18, they changed all the regulations, and you couldn't do Appless tracking anymore of cell phones.
And you couldn't. So can you explain that real quick, Kevin? What
Yeah. So originally, right, we would, back in the day, like with tracking products, they would ping cell phones. So they would triangulate off cell phone towers to get the geofence to ping where the truck was. So you didn't need an app. They could just turn location services on, and then boom, you could get the truck information
in the background of the phone, basically.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And so originally that's what their plan was to develop that, and then from there develop the communication platform with the carriers, right? And build like an omni-channel communication platform to communicate, but then just track through the phone. Well, obviously then when the FCC banned that, put a stop to that company real quick. So what they learned from that was they were like, we've got a cool platform. We've got something that we're starting to develop, but like we need to learn how to do this ourselves. So she dropped out of medical school. He buttoned up the trucking company, and they taught themselves to code. So literally quit their jobs, quit their lives, and then taught themselves to code. Right. And then, so the chain platform as it stands today, they built all of it. They led the development on all of it themselves and built it and bootstrapped it. And so now what it's turned into is they've taken the communications platform and what they've done with it, and then they introduced AI language models and stuff, and started training their own language models for freight, essentially, right? So that then essentially what Chain does now today is you take that ops management process from when you're booking a carrier through to delivery, and all that back and forth, right? All those ETAs, all that stuff, tracking fails on an app, something else. Then now a human has to get involved, and they just introduce AI into those gaps. So it doesn't matter how they're getting it. We integrate to your TMS, we integrate to your tracking providers, we integrate to ELDs, EDI, whatever it may be. And then as long as we can get the data, the AI is set up to run workflow. So it's proactive. Like it sees there's no tracking update. It sees there's a geofence, but they're approaching and we don't have an update. Whatever that may be, it just reaches out. It texts the driver. It emails the dispatcher automatically and says, hey, what's going on here? I don't see anything. Or let's say they've delivered, but no response afterwards. It says, hey, are you empty? I need the POD. I need the documents. I need the information. And then we can gather all that data back, parse it, and put it right back in the TMS.
Got it. Cool.
So, yeah. So the goal for us is not to we're not replacing carrier salespeople, right? We're not replacing, customer quoting. It's really the ops management workflow where it's all those little things that you don't want to do anyways, because it's just annoying. And we're trying to automate all that.
Kevin, who are you primarily selling to?
Right now, brokers and 3PLs.
Okay,
that's the low hanging fruit. Yeah. The carriers, we just give them our app. So it's like I said, it's omni-channel. So if the carrier just wants to text, if the dispatcher wants to email, it really doesn't matter. We parse it. It's coming to that load number. We centralize all that communication into one platform, right? So it's all in one paper trail. But then we also, if they want to download our app, they can do that. And then we also can do tracking. We can do other things too. But the autopilot's the AI feature. That's our AI product. Autopilot is our main foundational product. And it can work across, all of those different integrations and things for the AI to go in and do those workflows.
Nice. Yeah, I like that name. I have used it before in my previous company, and hope to have something like that for sales reps at Shipper CRM as well too. But specifically, obviously for the prospecting.
I'm curious.
Go ahead, Paul.
Sorry, I mean this is kind of just more random in a way, but I'm curious about the name change because the company recently changed from Chain with an E ending to just Chain. Can you tell us a little bit why? I'm kind of curious about the background story. So why?
Yeah, it's more semantic than anything. So originally when they had it as Chain, because we interact with, especially if we have customers that are on, we've got carriers that are on the app interacting with our customers, right? Or we've got carriers that see our links and they click it. Like we're starting to do booking, they can do offers, and then the AI can interact if they send offers in, right? Things like that. And it was funny because we were talking about this at Manifest, and Annalise was like, I just got sick of people calling it Cheney. She's like, call in, and they'd be like, yeah, so we're on the Cheney app. She was like,
honestly, that's what I called it too, and that's kind of like the drop the on Facebook moment, It's nice, a little bit cleaner. It is
right, exactly, sure. Right. Well, and also the chain thing, right? Everybody thinks chain, and then they immediately go to supply chain, right? It's like chain. But I think for us, the meaning of the word is kind of different from that, right? You think about links in a chain, you think about chain of custody on a load, right? Mm-hmm. The communication and the challenges that are presented between, if somebody emails over here and somebody text messages over here and then does something else in the TMS,
chain of events,
if that's not all getting to the same place, you're losing that chain of custody, right? That communication chain is broken. Yeah. And so for us, the name Chain, that's kind of what we're going for is keep that chain and that visibility to the load information in one place and then put it on autopilot, right? Let the AI work on it until it can't anymore. And then when they've told us they had a flat tire, the AI's gotten the pictures, it's gotten the receipts, it's gotten the information, it's updated the ETA. Finally, the driver's like, I'm not going to make it, then it escalates it to a rep. Then it's okay, we got to get a new driver on this. the AI that'll escalate it, but it'll try to go through that whole process with that exception management until it can't anymore.
So, Kevin, if you could, because I'm still a little bit confused on what exactly Chain does, can you explain it to me as if I was a 5-year-old, what Chain does?
So essentially, Chain takes your operations and manages it in the background without humans. So anything in that operations process for moving a load and specifically visibility, right? From the time it picks up till the time it's going to deliver, that truck's going to get to the destination. Our autopilot will handle all of the communication for you, essentially, right?
Mostly for visibility.
For mostly visibility. Yeah, we just got into booking. Booking's new. So we're starting to build out workflow into the booking process for the same purpose, right? Communication with the drivers, they send offers, fraud, right? If we see fraud on offers and things like that, the AI can do workflow to make sure it's prevented. But specifically today, autopilot is mostly focused on visibility, right? And managing that communication. The way I've been talking about it, I just did like my 6th demo yesterday, so I'm clearly an expert because I just got here 3 weeks ago. But the way I've been talking about it to people lately is like the best customer case study for me is that Chain is happening in the background and autopilot is occurring, and they don't even know it's happening. Like data is getting into the TMS, all the loads are getting updated, everything is happening, driver communication, documents, whatever. And the reps just get the information. They don't even know that it's happening. It's just occurring.
Okay. So with the autopilot, that's just all AI.
Yeah, it's AI. And then what we do is we build workflows around their whatever it is at 2 hours before pickup, 2 hours after pickup, ETA, if we see a geofence and they're too far out, something like that. If it's a specific customer that requires pictures at every stop on a multi-stop load, the AI reaches out, reminds them, give us the pictures. They text the picture back. It takes it, puts it in the TMS. So yeah, so so the AI manages all of that on its own by parsing all of the data and communications, right? It's a language model like GPT or anything like that. But then we build the workflows. So like all your SOPs, I mean, you remember being a broker, Paul, like the giant workflow charts, right? If this happens, do this, call this person, do that. We just automate all of that. We build it in and then the AI automates it.
Okay. Very, very
so
cool.
This is a base. So if I were to start a freight brokerage today and I started out of the gate, I was using Chain. What are the other things that I would need to then think about that let me rephrase this. If I started with Chain day 0, I got a subscription, became a customer, what's the next thing I need to think about it? And I don't need to think about it anymore.
Yeah. So it's funny you say that because like I've got a couple people that I know from the industry and whatever. Well, you guys know Josh Kale. He was over at LGI with Brandon.
I've heard of his name. I think I've seen him on LinkedIn.
Okay. So Josh is actually getting off the ground. I'll tell you a good anecdote. So he's getting off the ground with a new brokerage, right? So it's an asset group out on the East Coast, out in Carolina, and he's going to build their brokerage. So he's like a one-man show right now. And so I did a demo with him the other day, and he was like, man, he's like, so if I did this, and he has his compliance, right? So he can vet his carriers. He has like a couple other things for, he's got his TMS, he's got whatever, so he can manage his loads. He's like, but if I had Chain in here and you're connected to these other tools for the other parts of my business, he's like, essentially I wouldn't have to hire somebody to manage these loads, right? Like once they're moving, once they're going, like autopilot can just handle it. I'm like, yeah, that's actually a really cool use case. I would love to see him buy Chain, right? And then not hire anyone. But on the ops management side. You know what I'm saying?
And Kevin, how do you
AI just handles it?
At what point, because you said that there's obviously just due to the nature of like where the software like AI today actually is, right? There's still exception management, right? So at what point do you think he would need to hire somebody? Like how many loads per day, moving how many loads per day?
The thing is with AI though, is it's simultaneous, right? So it doesn't have to, I mean, if you get to a certain point, I guess it depends on the type of freight you move, right? And what the exceptions could be on a load. I mean, if you got trucks breaking down every day and flat tires and all this crap, you need chain can't fix that. Like you need
to, of course,
examine your carriers.
Maybe one day.
Yeah. So maybe it's not entirely the best idea to just, not have anybody overseeing it, but
no, you need someone. I mean, you'd need, instead of 10 people, you might need one, right? Like that's really the point. Like,
or the inverse of that would be like, if you have 10 people, you can do 10 times as much.
Or yes, the inverse would be, you could do 10 times more without hiring extra people, right? That's really the goal, because at that point, if we can manage a lot of the tracking, so I was talking to Eric. So you had Great Lakes up on the website with our case study with them.
Yep.
I was talking to Eric this morning. So Eric was an early adopter of Chain. They've been on it for a while. And I was texting him and I was like, if I wanted to show like one of your loads, is that cool? He's like, yeah, just let me know who the customer is, whatever. Cause it's cooler when it's in a live load and it's happening. But I'm like going through his loads and like everything they're doing is automated. It's not even that sexy, right? At that point, it's not that, it doesn't look that cool because so much of it is just happening and they've got their carriers onboarded. They're actually using our tracking app too. So now they've onboarded all their carriers onto the app. So that streamlines it even more beyond just the autopilot and the AI. And I'm like, okay, these aren't great examples. Like the good examples are, to your point, Christian, like when things break down, how does it handle getting those pictures, getting the documents, getting the receipts, right? All that sort of stuff until, they have to escalate it to a rep. But it's going to go through that whole process until it can't. So that's the point, right? You don't need all those people just checking on all those loads to make sure something's, not missed.
Yeah. Kevin, tell me what you think about this, but like, I think it will be a while before like exception management period is taken care of. And it's mainly just, from the way I see it, it's like, it's really dependent on the fact that like trucks themselves, they just, shit happens, they break down. That happens, that goes wrong all the time. And the best implementation of an AI agent, right? Like voice calls, phone calls, doesn't matter what type of AI you're using. It's like, you can't fix the truck at the end of the day, right? So you got to handle the exception there. Like, even if you're connected with GPS and the truck stops moving, it's like, okay, you can try to do an automated call to the driver, but like, what happens if the driver's not picking up the phone, right? And like, what are you going to do? Like, you still have to make sure that your customers updated at the same time. So I feel like that, the management, the personnel that is going to be focused on the carrier operations at the company, they're going to just basically be extraordinarily good and focused on higher quality of customer service.
Well, that's it, right? Service is the word. Like, that's where service is important. And think about it. Like, so I was talking to some old school freight guys the other day that were like original US Express guys, and they're at a different brokerage now. I won't put them on blast since I called them old school. Okay. But they brought up, like, they're like, yeah, this, it's interesting because like all this auto call bot that's happening now, right? Like the voice bot, do the voice bot for your carrier sales and just have the voice bot handle it, or do the voice bot for your customer sales and just, if they're asking for a quote, just have them handle it. And they're like, all that stuff makes me think about is like back in the day with chat calls and visibility with the drivers, it used to be IVR, right? Voice recognition, right? Where you're press 1, press 2, tell me what you need, right? Give me the load number. Give me the load number. Give me the load number. Because the dude can't read it correctly. And they were like, oh my God, that was a disaster. Like 15 years ago, like the drivers would just be like 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, trying to get to
IVR might have been probably the worst thing that has our society, to be honest with you. It was so,
and that's to your point, Christian, like that's where you need a human, though, right? Like you need because people get it gets frustrating, right? If you're broken down on the side of the road with a truck and you can't make it,
Yep.
The driver didn't mean for his truck to break down, and he feels bad. You know, he needed that load. He wanted that money. So he wants to talk to somebody and apologize, say, I can't make it, but I still want to work with you guys. You know,
Yeah. I mean,
he doesn't want to get on the phone with
AI
a robot.
Yeah,
The
you
one
can
thing-
AI agent, I guess, right? But like you want it maybe to mean something, I guess, per se. But,
The one thing with automated tracking or visibility, we're gonna miss emails like this. So, like, come on, you know, these kind of emails make logistics so much better too. You know,
That is true. But see, we still get stuff like that.
see, you know what? But we
The
can
difference is
use
the
Grok.
difference is
Grok's unhinged.
yeah, like we still get those funny responses. You guys should see some of the crap that has happened with when we start doing demos. Danielle, I'm not that cool, Danielle. Come on. So when we start doing demos with people, like we can throw your phone number in there, and then you can start like texting with the AI, right? So what'll happen is like we'll be doing these demos, and they'll be like, "Yeah, I'm broken down. It's $45,000 for a tow." Truck, yeah. And then like the AI is like, I'm really sorry to hear that. I'm gonna need receipts, you know, I'm gonna need details, data, right? Whatever. Cool. And then like I was talking to Joe Nasternak. We were doing a demo with him at Muse. I think you guys know Joe. And he sent like a picture of a bottle of tequila, and the AI was like, that's a bottle of Terramana tequila. I need a receipt for the transaction. Like,
Oh boy.
so you actually get that kind of stuff. It's funny but the AI just doesn't get angry, right? When the driver or the dispatcher or whomever starts to try to get under their skin.
Infinite patience.
so
Yeah.
like I heard, I wasn't at Manifest this year, but I heard AI was like the buzzword, you know, that everyone was using, and AI is everywhere now. Like there's so many AI companies, and they keep coming up, like popping up every day, new ones. Like, first of all, like Kevin, how do you see like AI, I guess, progressing in this industry? And then second of all, how do you differentiate yourself with like all these AI companies around? I'm kind of like wondering, like, what do you think of it all?
It's a fair question. Well, I mean, Paul, we've been talking about AI for 4 years now, right? Like three, a little over 3 years.
I think they have to like change the name of AI to something else. There has to be like an AI 2.0, something that
It used to be called ML.
Well, right. Well, ML is a part
There's-
of AI, right? And like machine learning.
stand for?
Yeah, machine learning. I mean,
Machine learning.
learning is a subset of AI, but AI as it is artificial intelligence, right? As it is today is doesn't mean anything really. It means many things, right? It means, I mean, there's like a million different types of artificial intelligence that are used for different reasons. Example, right? I was at Green Screens. What we were doing at Green Screens with AI and machine learning is completely different than what we're doing in Chain with AI and machine learning.
Yeah,
right.
Totally.
At Green Screens, we were doing data analytics, right? And AI is great for that stuff, right? Because the computational aspect of AI is insane. Like, you guys know the whole thing where like people, you know, the psychological thing where it's like people are like, I'm a great multitasker, but it's like multitasking is actually impossible. Like our brain can't do 3 things at once. It's literally physically impossible. AI can. Like, you can take millions and millions of lines of data and throw it at AI, and it can simultaneously run through all that data really, really fast and train itself and find patterns and do all this sort of stuff because it's running 1,000 brains at once. It's not running one brain, right?
Sure.
The models are running 1,000 brains. There's actually a good book called 1,000 Brains if you ever want to read it.
Is it about AI?
It's about AI, yeah. Jeff Hawkins is he invented the Palm Pilot, actually.
Okay.
The guy that invented the Palm Pilot. He now does an AI research lab.
What a legend.
Yeah, total legend. His stories are crazy too in the books. It's wild. But anyways, like so it's running all of these transactions at once. And like with Green Screens, that's what we're doing. We're taking the data, right? And we're doing what would take humans a year to do, right? The AI can do it in a few hours because it can run through all that data, find the patterns, and then retrain itself, right? That's where the machine learning component comes in. It learns how to use it and then predict, like with Green Screens, they're predicting a truckload rate based on market factors. Whereas like with Chain, what we're doing with the autopilot is we're teaching it to recognize the data that's being fed to it. So when you text it, right? Like when we text each other, we're like, I need the PU number, like pound sign or hashtag. Now we all call them hashtags, but like pound sign and APPT time for appointment time, right? Mm-hmm. We're teaching the AI what that jargon is. We're teaching it how to recognize that and then respond in kind, right? So it knows that's for a pickup number, that's asked for an appointment time. The appointment time's here from the TMS, pickup number's here, and then boom, we're kicking it back.
Kevin, quick question. So does a driver then like text Chain? Let's just say the driver needs a pickup appointment and the number. Like, does it just text like in the app, like, yo, I need this, and like Chain replies?
Do it in the app. Could just do an SMS. We give them a phone number.
Okay.
Through there, so they centralize it.
Chain AI will read it, will inform the driver of all that.
Okay, and respond. Cool. Yep. Okay. So
very
that's cool. Like so when to your original question about AI, right? Like there's so many applications of this, right? The voice bot thing is different than what we're doing, because what we're doing is structured language inside different omni-channel communication. The voice bot is voice recognition AI, right? So voice recognition is a completely different thing because language is different, right? And so, voice bots have to be trained, especially if you're like international, would have to be trained on multiple languages, right? Mm-hmm. Would have to be trained on jargon, would have to be trained on different cadences, like different things like that. But it's all spoken language, right? So it's very different. It's audio versus, text and data inside a system like what we're doing with Chain. So I think where we go with AI, I mean, it's a buzzword, it's getting thrown around, but what I've told people forever, and we used to talk about this at Green Screens all the time, Paul, like when I was on Freight Caviar stuff, like ask the question, what are you using? What is the AI? Like, how are you building it? How are you training it? What types of AI are you using? And then how do I apply that to my business? Because I could say I have AI, but that doesn't mean anything, like we have to understand where the applications are, what problems are we solving with it. So I think that's the future of it with our business, right? I think that the key is going to be, you got to find the right pieces to automate with AI, the right pieces to insert it into the equation of a freight load, right? And of a logistics transaction. And there's various places. I think of it like front end, customer and carrier sales, the middle of the load, right? Track and trace, visibility, dispatching, all that. And then the back end with back office, APAR, documents, approvals, all that sort of stuff. Like there's three kind of pieces there. And it's like, where do you fit in that transaction? And then what are those problems you're solving?
Very, very cool and interesting, Kevin.
Kevin, what excites you most so far? Outside from Chain, what excites you the most about where things are going, just in general?
With tech and with freight?
And yeah, in this particular space. So you're only a few weeks in on the AI, I guess in the AI agents space, let's call it.
Oh, the AI agent, yeah.
Right. When you think about it more, since this is now your new role, where from what you've learned so far, like where do you think things are heading?
Oh, Reed's here. He said, yeah.
Sorry?
Reed's made it. Wow.
Made it.
Welcome from Park City, Utah.
Dude.
Kevin's friend is in Park City right now.
Who is?
Yeah. Do you know Shifra, Reed? That was at Trusted?
I don't know. I don't know if I do.
She lives over in London, but she's from Dublin. Oh, she's in Park City right now. She left Vegas from Manifest to go skiing before she heads back to London. So.
Smart. Oh, I actually do think I know her. Yeah, no, I am not skiing.
Yo, Reed, show us, take off the fake background and show us like
you're hanging out with Pablo Escobar is what you're doing.
Yeah. All right, hold on.
Or something.
It's all snowy and stuff out here.
Dude. It's snowy out here, but I just don't have mountains and like pretty landscapes. It's just Kansas and it's flat.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't make much of a difference to me because I'm not skiing, but this place is cool. It is cool. I've never been here before. So it's gonna be good. I'm gonna go check it. I'm gonna go check out some spots later after I finish some stuff, and yeah, but I'm here till like Tuesday.
What have you done so far in Park City? What is the plan for the bachelor party?
I flew in yesterday and I've worked all day, and then I went to the bar. We went to dinner, and then I went to the bar and did what you're supposed to do. Oh yeah, we do have a hot tub. Yes.
You went inside the hot tub.
Did you get in the hot tub?
Of course.
Yeah. Reese was a selfie like at I don't know what time it was of being in the hot tub. So
yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It's more cost effective. You're supposed to get the buzz quicker in the hot tub.
All right.
So.
I since you all three were at Manifest and I wasn't there, I want to ask you all about Manifest. Like biggest takeaways, what went down. I don't even think last week we did a recap of Manifest, so I think it'd be a good time to discuss all things at the largest logistics conference, biggest logistics conference of the year in Vegas. So
our after party was wild.
Okay, wait, I'm gonna pull up that video because it has.
I mean, that's you have to show the video.
Yeah,
Robert Bain is a legend.
Oh, what him up on the stage like twirling his shirt and stuff.
I'm pretty sure he upstaged Flow Rida, which is pretty incredible.
Curious here, who was at the after party?
I was there.
I was there. We all three of us were there.
All of us were there.
All three. Okay. All right. So I've only been to one after party at Vegas. That was the one that was with Nelly 2 years ago. Great time. Wondering, like, how did it get so wild at this one? Like, what was it Flow Rida that like made it wild, or was it?
Oh yeah, it was Flow Rida.
I think people were just turned up. To be honest, I think it was.
Also,
I think it was. I liked the venue. I thought the venue was cool.
I feel wasn't
that
there
venue
last year too?
Yeah.
Or
is there all 3
No,
years?
it was.
So it was there. Wasn't it? Wasn't Neo there?
I thought it was. Maybe I didn't go last year. I mean, I went to Manifest, but I didn't. I didn't go.
Yeah, they did Nelly. It's the same place, Paul, that they did Nelly.
Okay, yeah, that was a cool place. Last year, I think it was taken from concert. So I'm pulling up the video right now. All right, we made a meme out of it. Your boss at Manifest while you're stuck covering freight.
Which is incredible.
1, 2, 3. Go down for real. Let's party.
My God.
I know who you came here to see. If you're afraid, then you coming home with me. I know what you came here.
God, dude.
Well, first off, it started off like Florida inviting all like a bunch of women onto stage, and then like that was fun. Everybody's having a great time, all this stuff. Nothing like too wild. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. And then he's like, let's have all the dudes come on stage. And I was like, oh, this is gonna get interesting. And it sure did.
I'm happy he did that, he could have just as easily said no to the dudes, but he's obviously an equal opportunity partier. So so it was good to see.
And then he literally gave Bane his leather vest and his sunglasses and put him on. Yeah, it was like, wow.
Oh, that's right.
He was all into it. But I think if you go back to that video real quick, I think there is an underrated portion of this that we need to find this guy. We need to get him on Freight Gong with you guys.
I know which guy it is.
Is it the guy?
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
It's
well, the two guys and the guy in the turban. Dude, the guy in the turban is getting down in this video. Yep. But
can somebody identify them?
Bane.
Can anyone identify them?
We gotta find him because watch the guy in the turban. Like he just starts going nuts.
Going at it.
Yeah, it was insane. Like, and I think because he was off the side of the stage, I think he got kind of like, cut out of the scene. But he was putting down some moves over there. Look at that! Look at him go.
Let's go.
I told you. You have to find that guy, and you got to get that guy.
He's literally like running the concert right here. Or he's like
gonna be
Yeah, find Flow Rida in this video. Like
it's right there, I think.
No.
He's right there with Bane, but like
yeah. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So I mean, Manifest. How was Manifest compared to other years? I heard it was bigger again. It's grown a lot.
What did you guys think? Do you guys feel like it was bigger?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, it was huge.
I think it was 7,000 people, and like last year, I think it was 5.5.
Okay.
Yeah, it was definitely.
It's a
I
lot
liked-
more
I-
walking this time, I think. I felt like.
I like the
Oh,
Venetian
yeah.
a lot more than the
Caesar's Palace?
Caesars
Really?
Forum. Yeah,
Oh,
I do.
yes. Venetian was a better venue for sure. It just was, I don't know. It's almost too many people. Like, there's like 7,000 people there almost or something.
It's a lot.
I think they said.
It really
And then the booth area was so massive that it was good. I thought it was really good, but it just like it's kind of chaos the whole time.
Did you
Really?
guys did you guys like my my AS400 Game Boy video meme I made?
I
Let's pull it
just
up.
do it.
It was right there. You scrolled past it. You scrolled
Yeah,
past
you
it.
did. You went right past it up there.
Go up.
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
Oh, here it is.
Oh, love it.
Oh my god. When are you launching this?
Dude,
Can we pre-order?
you should find out to get somebody to make it and sell it to people. People will buy it.
Oh my
I don't. I don't think.
Agentic AI aging violence. It's really good.
I mean, that was definitely like the theme of the event, right? Everyone was just talking
AI.
about that. Oh
I mean,
yeah.
this one went
Well, before
Yeah,
you
it
jumped
did.
on, Reed, we were talking about this. Like, I was talking about the voice bots, and it was like, man, it was like if you wanted the most unoriginal idea to make an announcement at Manifest ever, announce that we released an AI voice bot. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm not hating on it. That's not like I'm not, like I know the guys at Fleetworks. I know Jesse Avuma. Like I know all those guys really well. But like 10
Vuma-
people were
Vuma's
like, we
good
got an
about
AI voice bot. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
cool.
well, it just
Good for them.
goes to show that it's not terribly difficult to create one. What now? Is it terribly difficult to create a good one? Yeah. Is it hard to sell? Probably.
I think next year we'll see like robots. Like instead of just bot agents, you could actually buy a robot and have it sit in.
I have. Let's. Do you want to talk about this real quick?
What's up?
Let's
Do you
go.
want to, Oh, this is my post. Yeah, dude. So my flight got canceled on Thursday as I was trying to leave.
Well, was that Southwest Airlines or who were you flying with?
No, Frontier, bro. Frontier.
Like that's like a 30-minute flight.
Yeah,
And
it
it's
is.
just
It is. But it was raining. It hasn't rained in Phoenix in like 160 days or something like that. And it was raining. It was raining in Phoenix and it was raining in Vegas. And apparently that was enough for Frontier to kind of throw their hands up and be like, like fuck it, like we're not gonna fly.
This might be the most wholesome Reed story, though.
That's the
ever.
gamble you take, though, with Frontier.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
It is, and it's a
It's
cheap
good to
flight.
have it.
It's a cheap flight to Phoenix. But yeah, anyway, it worked out, and I went to go rent a car. I was like, screw it, like I don't want to wait. I rebooked. So as soon as my flight got canceled, I rebooked myself on a Southwest flight that was like 3 hours later. And as soon as I booked it, like literally, I book it, I go to check in. And it just tells me, oh yeah, like delayed not 8 hours or something like that. And I was like, dope. Like, why didn't you just tell me that before I booked it? But whatever. So I went to the rental car center and I went to a couple stands and they were all sold out. And then finally I was at this other one and I heard a guy in front of me in line being like, hey, do you have any cars that I can take to Phoenix? And I was like, you're going to Phoenix? He's like, yeah. And I was like, me too. And he saw my hoodie. He's like, I was wearing my Truck Parking Club hoodie. And he's like, are you a truck driver? And I was like, no, are you? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, oh, dope. You want to get a car? And he was like, yeah. And
It's like that.
yeah, basically. So we went to another kiosk and I found like they had like one car left and it was a Mustang. And I was like, yeah, sure. So I got it. And I got it for us, and yeah, we just hopped in the car and drove, whatever the 5 hours back, and I dropped him off at his house, and met his wife, and she took the picture of us. But anyway, yeah, he was a super cool dude. His name was Nate. He's a driver for Swift, and we just basically just kind of shot the shit the whole time, just talked about whatever. I mean, like pretty much everything. He was a super talkative, curious dude. So it was cool. He had an interesting life.
Is he a Truck Parking Club user?
No. So he
Did you tell him he looked like Josh Gad?
No, I don't. No,
Because when you
I
first posted that picture, I'm like, did you drive with Josh Gad to Phoenix?
yeah. No, he kind of does look like him though.
A
I
lot.
didn't, but no, he was a really good dude, and he's I hooked him up. He signed up for. I got him to sign up for Truck Parking Club. That was not my first order of business. We shot the shit for a while, and then I was like, dude, do you ever need parking? And so we talked about that for a while, which was good perspective, interesting. He had a lot of good stories about it, and yeah, it was cool. But we only talked about that for probably 30 minutes, and then we just talked about whatever. He was curious how brokerages worked, and it's always been interesting to talk to drivers, because I feel like a lot of drivers don't, and carriers kind of in general don't really have much idea about how brokerages like actually work. And they, a lot of them think that you make 75% margin on every load, and I kind of just
if you don't make that much, you're a weak broker.
I mean, yeah, that's not. What kind of margins did you make?
Exactly.
No, that's actually, what's funny you say that, because like the Broker Carrier Summit, that's been what's been interesting about that conference is like, man, you put these people in the same room,
yeah,
and you get some interesting conversations around
for
what
sure,
they
for
think
sure.
of the other side.
There's a big disconnect. I mean, going both ways, obviously, about the life that each other lives day to day. So I mean, it's anytime you can spend some time with somebody who's on the other side of the transaction, if you will. It's good. It makes for good conversation. So but it was cool. We had a good time. We exchanged numbers. I've been texting him, but he's a good dude. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a LinkedIn, so I couldn't tag him, but yeah, the post popped off, so that's cool, I guess. But yeah, no, I think manifests in general. We don't. And do you guys want to talk about this anymore? Or can we move on?
Yes, tell us about manifests.
No, yeah, for sure.
No. So I think to Kevin, you kind of brought up. You alluded to the folks who were like the first, presentation who talked about launching their AI voice. I can't remember the name of the company. I think it started with an A. I could be making that up.
Augment was one that did
the guy, the first, I don't know if you guys listened to the opening session. It was like literally one of the first presentations was them like launching their product, and they had the booth like right in the front. I mean, I honestly don't think that I don't hate launching at a place like that, because it's a giant stage and everyone sees you. But I don't obviously if you're launching a product that a bunch of other people do, you're going to be opening yourself up to criticism, which is fine though. I don't think that's an issue. But I do think one thing all of those folks kept saying was like, you're not going to lose your job to AI. You're going to lose your job to somebody who uses AI. And I'm just like, dude, I think that's kind of fake. I think a lot of jobs. I think these agents are going to be really good. And if you fast forward in 5 years, I don't see any reason why they wouldn't be able to do the job. There's going to be edge cases. And so maybe there's always, and another thing they always say is human in the loop. I love that. I love that kind of phrase. I think it's a little disingenuous to be like, oh yeah, you're all good. Like this ain't good. This isn't going to do anything. You're just going to use it. I'm just like, I just don't think that's true at all.
We were talking about that before you got on, Reed, because that's what Christian and Paul were asking me about, like chain, and I think it's the low hanging fruit, right? I think there's at some point we're all human beings, right? So you don't want to. I was talking about the driver's on the side of the road. He's broken down. He's not going to make your pickup, right? The guy didn't mean for his truck to break down. He feels bad, right? And he doesn't want to get on the phone with a voice bot. He wants to get on the phone with his carrier rep and be like, "I'm sorry, I can't do it. I'm not going to make it, whatever." So I think that's not the low hanging fruit. Right? That's where you're still going to need that relationship piece with people involved for the emotional intelligence stuff, because AI is never going to be able to handle that, right?
Dude, I
Yeah.
just would never say never, you know? I just would never say never.
Well, no, that's true. That's true. I mean, at some
Dude,
point,
I mean, you just think about like it's the rate of change is so rapid, and
yeah,
like
it's
I was
true.
playing with Grok 3 yesterday, and dude, I mean, it is ridiculously
It's
good.
incredible.
It's
It is actually really
ridiculously good. And
Really
they're only gonna get even better. And is it going to be able to field all of the edge cases when it has the full context of your company? Oh, 1,000,000% it will.
I don't
A
actually.
million
So
percent.
I don't think it will be. I don't think it will be just because you get the full context of the project, the entire project, whatever it might be, right? Whether it's code or anything else. One thing that I've noticed is like there's as a project grows bigger, like unless you were super like stringent on like
I'm not
keeping
talking about code, dude. I'm talking
yeah
about
anything.
yeah, I'm saying like so I actually think this might end up with carriers and drivers preferring to talk to an agent
I was going to say that as well.
because their problems are going to get solved faster.
Yeah,
A lot of
I think you're right.
times when they call, with issues, and you got to say, and they don't get their guy, like if they call their rep and the rep's on the phone and it rings to somebody else, which usually happens, and somebody else answers in the office, like that person's gonna be like, okay, who are you? What's your load number? They're gonna do all the stuff the agent would have to do. But actually, it might maybe even not, because the agent's gonna see the phone number, they're gonna instantly be able to look up the load, they're gonna know that driver's entire history with the company instantly, every load they've ever done, right? And I just don't I just think it's gonna do a better job at the end of the day. I think it will.
I think you're right in the context of, and this kind of, again, this is what we were talking about earlier, right? In the context of, I just need information, right? Or I need information about the load. I need information about the pickup. I want to give you information about the load, give you information about the pickup. I think that is fair. I think the cases of exception management, though, when things are breaking down, I think the AI will get to a point, and yes, like 5-10 years down the road, this could be different, right? It probably will be, because of, like you said, the rate of change, right? Moore's law, right? It's just going to get worse and worse, but or better and better. But I think as it stands, I think there's a point that the AI, it has to escalate to a human being, because it
probably
can't. You and I can have a conversation like this without needing like training on this, right? Because we have experiences. We have experiential like things that lead us in a direction of how to deal with one another and have a conversation, and the psychology of it. That is very hard to teach an AI.
Dude, they're gonna figure it out, bro. They will.
They are, but again, that down the road, I think right now that's difficult, though, right? I think, yeah.
Did you guys see on Twitter, Gabe, what's his last name? Pankinen?
From Rocket.
From Rocket.
He did a post the other day about using Grok 3 to price an RFP, and he gave like a bunch of a ton of lane data, and it basically did like, what would take a pricing person like a day to do in like 15 seconds. It's like, dude, I mean,
Elon is literally trying to just eliminate the spreadsheet class. So like, I'm not surprised at all that Grok 3 is like,
which is literally like the
really
entire brokerage world is like all spreadsheet bros, like, and a spreadsheet is a database too. I mean, that's all it is. Like it is a
database.
It's I don't know, man.
That sort of stuff too. We actually talked about this. You're late to the party, Reed.
Yeah, I know.
We talk about that as well, right? Because like data analytics is like different, right? Like you and I can't simultaneously run through millions of lines of data because we have one brain. So we can't multitask to look at 10 things at once and then decipher the patterns and whatever. Whereas like an AI, I can hook up 1,000 GPUs, right? That can process all that data. And that's like having 1,000 brains that are running at once simultaneously to do data. And that's the same thing with call bots and agents, to your point, because one person can't be on 100 phone calls, or one person can't answer 100 emails at the same time, or 100 text messages, or whatever. An AI can.
Yeah.
But which, to your point, I mean, like, yeah, it is good. People saying it's not going to replace jobs. It's going to replace jobs.
Why would?
And by the way,
that's
this
like
is
the
not
whole-
only in trade. This is not
jobs.
only in trade. This is not
It-
only.
it's not. It's everywhere.
It's everything, dude.
I think the specialized people, though, that know the industry, that have other talents, right, for sales or customer relationships or account management or different things, what'll happen is those people get repositioned, and then you just won't hire 10 more people, right?
Yeah.
It'll replace future jobs. It'll replace a lot of jobs that you won't be hiring for, because you'll be replacing those jobs with AI.
Yeah, I mean, I think I honestly, but I don't. I mean, obviously, people losing jobs, you can like kind of hem and haw about that, and that's.
I mean, it's not great.
It's,
you know?
well, I mean, it sucks. Like, it does suck. It's going to suck for some people, and maybe even us in some ways, right? And that's fine. Like, I mean, that's just reality, you know.
Yep.
Like, you can't really get away from that. And if all we cared about from a tech standpoint, you know, and tech means everything, like, you know, the invention of the printing press obviously put a lot of monks transcribing books, like, out of, or making copies of books out of work. You know, it did. And, you know, every invention we take for granted now was a sea change that massively upended the way things worked in the past. And
this is by far going to be the quickest one for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to accelerate, and it's going to happen faster, and there's probably going to be more upheaval as a result. But like, at the end of the day, I think it just is going to open more opportunities for people who are able to leverage, who are able to, you know, figure it out and know how to use it. I mean, you might have like a one-man brokerage who's just got a lot of accounts, and like, he can sell or she can sell, and everything else is, you know, handled by a robot, and that could be cool. Somebody should do that.
Well, I mean, it's no different. You think back to, like, it's like the internet. AI is going to be like the internet, and what changed our lives with going online, right? Whereas we used to do things manually on spreadsheets, and we started doing everything online on computers. It's the same type of change, right? You used to go to a library and pick up a book and do some research.
Okay, guys, I gotta go.
Gotta go as well.
All right,
I gotta go.
We're finishing up. Yo, Kevin, thanks for joining us. This has been a great episode of Freight Gong Friday. Reed, thanks for coming on halfway through from Park City, Utah.
Heck yeah.
Man, a
On
wonderful
location.
weekend. Let's crush it today and enjoy the weekend. And thanks for coming on again. And
see you guys.
Looking forward to hearing updates in the future, Kevin.
See you, Kevin.
Awesome.
Yeah.
See you guys. Appreciate you. Bye.